Welcome everybody to the Vic Hugo show once again. Very special guest today, Mr. Rafa Pistola. How you doing today, sir?
Blessed, brother. I'm doing good. I'm doing better now, even. So thank you for having me, man.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you being on, and I mean, we go way back,
Oh
back
yeah.
to the basketball courts of Central Paso.
Woo! Central, you still in,
Yeah,
Central when you're in town, or no?
yeah. I stay kind of on the west side now, so moving on up in the world.
Moving on. I was gonna say you throw some money,
Yes,
roll
sir.
some money down Mesa,
What's up?
roll some cash down Mesa Street for the Centralites when you get a chance, man. Roll some of your gold down Mesa Street, so
Yeah,
when you get a chance to.
that that's the plan, bro. That's the plan, right? To eventually make enough money to fucking uplift the community, uplift
Man,
the la raza, you know?
absolutely, brother. And you're yeah, dude. We like part of the reason, honestly, man, that I'm super happy to be here is because you already do it. It's not even money, man. It's you're sharing a platform, dude. And you said it, man. We never get access to media, man. So the gold you're rolling down that hill is already now. You know what I'm saying, brother? I thank you for that because we were just saying, man, like, was you take time away from your family and all that. And to me, man, in the long run, it's so that we can have our own platform. Something we're never in the Hollywood medias. You know what I'm saying? We're never on the whatever the set. So whatever I can help you with, brother, man. Like,
Oh no, thank you, dude. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So today is about you, brother. So I want to know the story, man. Like I know the time that I kind of met you, playing basketball and stuff like that. I know very little, but now that we're all grown, life has hit us from every direction. I want to know about you, of course, but I want to know what set you on the path to be a musician, bro.
Um, was my I think around me there was always music, man. I got to start at the beginning, right? As far as me is like, God, even it goes even before the beginning, and I'll round about to that. Because ever since I was a kid, there was always music in my house. Like my dad was huge in music, and he didn't really play a lot. He didn't really play a lot. Like he grew up, he played some tuba, believe it or not. And then he would play accordion at the family parties. But he was always playing music. You know what I'm saying? Every time I grew up, there was music in the house, and my family it plays music. I had like my great uncles and stuff when they moved up when they came to the U.S. During the 1920s, the teens, man. They kept traveling up to Chicago, and so my grandma grew up in Chicago, and like my some of my uncles went off to like Milwaukee, and they were like the first mariachi band on the radio in Milwaukee, in like the 20s. So it's music's been around me, man,
Oh
and through all
wow.
throughout, yeah, dude. And it was always around, but I grew up playing ball more, So I was always hearing music, but actually actively, dude, I was playing basketball, all the time. Um, and it's not until I mean, there's like moments, dude. I remember hearing certain people, like my older brother, who didn't really play a lot, but he was playing the guitar one time, man, and he was just playing something that he was learning, dude. And I think just seeing my brother in front of me, who I, with my own blood, my own place, making a sound off that guitar, dude, I was like, wow, it sounds cool. Whether things like that happen, and then really, what it was, I think the final trigger man was around. It's been like '96, dude, '97. An old friend of mine, Stevie Tella, and Jericho Cagle, they had bands out in like Burgess as little teenagers, dude, playing backyard parties. And to me, I was always fascinated by that. Even El Paso High, man, where I went to high school. Anytime I heard about bands playing, I remember I was just fascinated with that, dude. Even though I didn't play, I was like, dude, how do you write a song? How is it like playing an instrument? But yeah, like around '95 or '96, man, was my friend Steve started coming around. He had been bouncing around from school to school, ended up in Burgess. Um, and then he started playing the guitar to me, and he would tell me about his band, and I'm in a band, dude. And we write songs, we play. That was fascinating to me. So I just like hung around them for a while, and around it just stayed in my head. Dude. So I got a little acoustic guitar that was a gift to me from this guy named Moonby. Um, and I just started writing songs, dude. This is like '97. And I just started writing, so I just blessed, dude, and that it came out like naturally. So I would just write tunes, whatever I could with a few chords I knew. And from there, man, I just started hanging around the scene. And then the same friend said, hey, dude, come sing with our band. So I'm not a singer. I can't sing, dude. I'm nerve wracked, you know what I'm saying? So I started playing little acoustic shows around the scene, places like Dolce Vita. I don't know if you remember that place. That was an old coffee shop on Cincinnati Street in downtown. We
Oh
would,
no, I don't.
I know, because I'm telling you, like, you're a youngster, man. So, like, this is back in my, makes my back hurt telling you about these places, dude. But And so I started just, and also you go downtown and there wasn't a lot of places to go see shows, to tell you the truth, dude. And this is in the '90s, man. And so there were only a few places, and most places, like in any city, dude, were like for cover bands if they were there. So if you were a local original band, Dusty Dirty, just as an idea, there weren't a lot of places, man. And so you'd have to just go to like backyard parties. And so that's slowly where I picked up on it. Um, and then I think I played my first show like '97, dude, '98 acoustic. And then from there I started hanging out more. And then really, really it took off when I hung out with my friend Peanut over at the Wood Robina apartments. We went there for different reasons and we were hanging out, but he was always there playing by himself, dude, like with little eight track or recorders, man. These are tape recorders for all the kids at home. And
Wow.
so
Hmm.
I just remember he was so into it, man. And he said, dude, I like your songs, come over. And that turned into just a couple of dudes, through a haze of smoke, like playing songs to hey, let's start a band. Okay, let's get a drummer. We picked up my homeboy Ray Olivas, man, and then we picked up another singer songwriter, man, excellent singer songwriter Danny Duran, man. So between us four, we started playing in a band called Machine back in '99, man, and again just in backyards, um, and eventually just started playing in finally in bars, man. But yeah, dude, it was trippy because as a kid, you don't hear that. I didn't realize until you leave town for a bit and you start touring how much of an infrastructure there is, dude. That's why I'm so thankful, man. Like I said before, for people like you, because a lot of us don't get any platforms. A lot of artists, a lot of writers, thinkers, whatever. So the internet's beautiful in that sense, dude. But also us, like yourself, grabbing at the internet and putting us on the spot, man, because you never had that before. So you got a lot of skill and chuko of all types. It just always either leaves or map. It's not something to do. So it's a working class town. So we get our jobs and we, pay for our families and stuff. And it's easy to go on a different path. So, but just barely like in '99, brother, like 2000 is when, to me, maybe it's because that's when I was really started jumping in the scene. I saw so many bands, man. And it seemed like out of necessity, dude, we just mixed genres because we weren't a big enough scene to say, okay, the punk rockers are out there, the cellos are over here, the reggae cats are out there. So it's really broken up. But it was cool to come together, and so you had all
Hmm.
the
Yep.
all this energy from the Lower Valley, for example. Lower Valley's like, you have so much of the heart of the city out there. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of the bands that I remember that were the earliest bands were from there. Central, where I'm from, man, was there was of course like at the drive-in back in the day. And then you also had bands before, and I'm only speaking of the stuff that was within the time, like the Texicans and tons of bands, man. So, but those bands were before, and so then we started coming together, dude, and really I started seeing it pop off like 2000, 2001, 2002. Then you had a lot of different bands. You had ourselves, we were the Fuel Project, man. Then you had like Fuga coming out, Tape and Sin, and all these cool bands, man. Um, and that's kind of how I started, man. And to tell you the truth, just like anything, you do a lot of local stuff. You work little jobs here and there to save up money. We wanted to tour and tour and tour, um, but you don't get to tour a lot if you don't have the cash. So really, the way to do it, dude. I mean, I'll tell you, especially now, it's amazing. If you're the kids at home, whatever, you got to tour, man. And these bands that you hear that blew up, um, they were touring like all year, dude. And I'm talking about like they would tour like 9, 10 months of the year. And again, so I mentioned at the drive because they're one of the biggest bands that came out of here. But they were playing to like empty places in Chuco, like empty places. And they even said like, yeah, when we go out and we toured in the beginning, there was like 3 people there. But you keep playing. You come back to that town, second, third, fourth, fifth time. They paid 10 months a year, dude. And you keep doing it before you slowly start adding people, man. And so if I were to say anything for these people, I don't know because I never became rich and famous off of it. It turns out that's not what was driving me anyway, and I realized that now. But for these people, if you want to do it, man, you guys got to get on the road and tour a lot. And the sad part is, dude, that you do have to sacrifice a lot of family time. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's hard to do when you got.
So
Go ahead, Victor, man.
no, no, I just want to, because right now you said that that's not what drove you, dude. And so what did, right? Because I know certain artists, it's kind of like, well, I want to make that one song that when you hear it is like it just changes
Absolutely.
your mood, it betters your day. if it wasn't the money, if it wasn't that, where when you started, what was the end goal? Where was the what was the moment that that would make you realize I made it? This is what I wanted.
Okay, so that's a great question, dude. So that I'll tell you what I think it was then, looking back at it now, right? I can't be in that kid's head in the 90s anymore, even though I think I'm that kid. That was another world, you know. I can only, I
Yeah.
mean, we're different people at different times and places, you know. Um, I'll tell you, man, I think naturally I was just like any kid, loving maybe some fame and fortune, dude, for all I knew, you know. Driven those days, like, wow, man, one day I'll be on the cover of Spin Magazine or something, and I'll be able to I also I don't have to get a day job, so I can just play guitar with my friends. All you know, I gotta say that's got to be somewhere in there, man. Um,
Yeah.
but what I mean is, and that's just being truthful, you know. And then as that doesn't happen, I'll be honest with you, you keep going for some reason. And the fuel that you thought was the fuel that kept you going turns out wasn't the fuel, because if that was the fuel, I would have quit in 2002, you know, 2003, when I was like, nah, I don't know if I'm going to get rich and famous, you know. And
Mhm.
started Mexicans at Night in 2007 with my homie Roca, Alex Roca. He's out there in the world somewhere right now. Um, and even then, it was probably still like, dude, let's fucking do this, man. At that point, like he had kids already, and so he was saying, dude, we gotta do this. I gotta pay these bills, man. And then maybe then we can just focus on our art, you know, because we're always kind of just outsider people, man. Like what is inside your head, Vic, that makes you do this? And when somebody else is like, oh, I'll watch a football game, so there's some craziness and do something for the future, some hope, man. And so we still had that, but we were making money, rich and fame, but we kept going, dude. And here I
Mhm.
am, much older. I'm not rich and famous, whatever, but I kept going. So I guess what I'm getting at is, turns out what I thought was the fuel back then may not have been the fuel that I think was driving me. You know, now, now I feel, dude, is that it's like I just want to make something like beautiful, dude, something beautiful that makes a little kid, a little girl, a little boy look up at me that looks like them and says, "Okay, we can do something, man. We can make something beautiful." You know what I'm saying? And something hopefully impactful. Because again, dude, I mean, not to get too off topic, but like, I don't think we ever have that in our culture, dude. I'll tell you, you know how it is, brother. We open up the books when we're little kids, and that's when most of our perception, our perspective is built, right? Because our brains are wide
Mhm.
open. And what happens when you open up those? I can see like the textbooks. We're never in there, dude. Okay, so we're not heroes.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying, dude? So we never look like the heroes. In fact, frankly, we kind of look like some of the villains in there, dude. Okay, well, I'm not. And what happens is the kid sitting next to you who may look like that is getting all this drive and energy and oh man, I can be a king, you know, I can be a queen. And we're quite not, dude. So, well, you know, maybe I'll go another way. So the books aren't doing it for us, man. And then you turn on the movies, and we're never the Marvel heroes. You know what I'm saying? We're never the superheroes most of the time. So like our people, man. And I say our people because that's how we're processed from the outside, you know. Hispanic people.
Yeah, I mean, even the Avengers, bro. Like you
There we
see,
go.
when Disney was doing this whole like, oh, we're gonna put different people, different races in these roles, whatever. You don't see a Mexican
Yeah,
superhero anywhere.
it's insane, bro. Okay, I get it if we were just like you and I and five people here, but they're not gonna. There's no one here. But we're 20% of the
Yeah,
population of this country, almost, man. 20, one out of every five workers, parents, people, police officers, paving your streets, consumers. We provide one fifth almost of all this. And you turn on a movie, dude, and we're invisible, man. And like to think that a lot of these movie studios are in places like LA. So we're not just 20% of the people in LA. They go out and they eat between these takes, and there's 50% of the
oh
people.
yeah.
Now you have to wonder, man, is this like, are they just forgetting? Or is it's be like intentional from that point, you know? And so I thought
I
about,
think so too.
you know what I'm saying, brother? And so I mean it again. I keep saying it, but that's why I'm so thankful for people like you. You are media, dude, and you are media that's putting us on when, for some reason, people aren't. I don't know if they're scared of us or, but I wish they just knew we're just as loving as anyone else, you know. But so and so that's what I mean. Going back to what I was saying, Vic, is we don't have any. We're, like you said, we're not in the movies. We're not the superheroes. But I've almost we go paying our money to watch these people and putting on their outfit
Yeah.
and events, but they never include us, man. But that's okay. Before I was like, they're leaving us
Or
out.
if they do, we're the gangbanger, we're the drug
Like,
dealer, we're the gardener. It's never.
absolutely, dude.
Yeah, bro. I totally agree. I think. the only guy that I see it, but I don't even know he's Mexican. It's the guy from Star Wars, Pascal or Pascual or whatever. I think he's the only one, but I don't know if he's fully Mexican.
Right. And isn't it amazing, brother, that we can identify one guy when every other group gets to have a brand new group of people? Because it's true. If you're not in the history books, cool. But like you said, sometimes people get their education outside of those books. They go to the movies, they turn on the
Mhm.
radio, the music, and we're never there, dude. And you're right. You're right. Like if we are like in a comic book, it's going to be our own segregated movie, The Blue Beetle. And I said, why can't we be the top one in be there? We're paying money just like anyone
Yeah.
else. So, so what I mean is I think that's what I want to do now, man. I just want to create some alternative to that kids like look like you and I, our little daughters, our little sons, when their eyes are opening, dude, don't always have to look elsewhere and say, but so I got to be like those people to be a hero, or I got to be like that man or like that person to be a hero. Oh man, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm naive, but I just think the more
No, no. But okay, this is what I gotta say as just somebody that spent some time with you as a kid, bro. Because I think when I met you, I was in my teens, bro. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
hell yeah,
So like we were ball up, bro, and like in any hood, right? In any place where people are brought up,
yeah,
the older cats are if you don't have a father, if you don't have an older brother, the
yeah,
older people in your neighborhood are the people that you look up to, you
totally,
know? So coming like going to play basketball, dude, on the daily, you guys being there, you having your own band, like dude,
yeah,
we thought you were cool as fuck, you know? We're like, oh
thank
dude,
you,
yeah, that's good. So in that scenario, bro, you do impact you like you did impact us to for
thank you, dude.
like something like this, bro. Like me growing up in seeing like, oh, this guy can do it. So me
Thank you,
throwing
dude.
myself into something like this makes me like this guy's coming from the same place I am. You know, we're in the
Mhm.
same spot. We have the same interests. So then, yeah, why not me too? You know what I mean? So yeah, brother. I mean, I want to thank you for that because I know it wasn't like a huge role in my life, but it was a very minimal thing to where if you were like a drug dealer or something like that, and instead of playing basketball with us and telling us like, yeah, I have a band, I do this,
Yeah.
then you could easily influence us a different way, but you did it. You know what I mean? So thank you for that. Mexicans
Totally.
at Night was the band that you had going on when we met you, bro. And I want to pull this up real quick,
All right.
just because just because I saw it right now. I won't play the audio because it doesn't sound too good.
Okay.
But I mean that's a while back. Or where was this right here?
So let me see. So my memory's hazy, man, but let me see. Jam sessions, that would have been like 2008, dude, 2009. Um, and I think jam session definitely was this guy that was creating in fact, it's like what we're talking about. He was trying to put a lot of local people on the scene, and put them in media. And so that's me. I think I was eating a hamburger right there, right? Like tasty hamburger. Right? No, I'm sitting there, dude. And again, that was a duo for the most part. And we did have a lot of beautiful musicians, man, step in. Miguel Valdez, Rich Rap, of course, Brian, B. Ramos, But generally, that was me and Roca, dude. So that was interesting, brother. Like, that was us. That was me. Like, when we were leaving. Finishing off playing Fuel Project, dude, and I knew I kind of just wanted. So Fuel Project was a lot harder, man. A lot like, and I realized, man, that's like sometimes it's different energies in a band, whatever. So I separated from that in a good vibe. I'm still friends with all the guys, but I was floating in the middle. And I started playing with my friends, the Tape Incident, and they let me be their drummer. So I was a drummer, and then they were out on I think Rio Grande Street and Brown Street, right by El Paso High again. Really cool place. Um, and so I would go with them and just hang out and drum. And in between, all these different musicians would pop in and out of these like just loose practices for hours, dude. And so I met a lot of people there. And even though I'd known them before rock, I played with us at the Field Project briefly, man, through our friend Dave Orozco. Um, we started playing just like on the off bits when the guys would go take a smoke break or a drink break between the different sessions, and he and I would just stay there and just play, dude. And that was two people, and it clicked immediately. That's 2007, mid 2007. And so we said, "Hey, dude, let's start playing our own band." And it was rough and raw, dude. It was just two dudes, but I think the philosophy was people are smart enough to see through it not being the shiniest thing, dude, because we had a lot of just pure energy. We thought we threw some big beats in it, man. We threw some what we thought were beautiful melodies and all this and that, man. So we got playing. And yeah, so that was 2007, and then around 2000, late 2007, we started picking up some energy, and then a lot of people started like helping us get to shows, get on radio stations. We started traveling a lot, going on tours, different spots up and down the coast of or different parts of the country, and so that would have been, brother, I think around 2008, maybe 2009 even, because yeah, by the time we came back, there was a lot more support for us locally, dude. Um, we had a great time, dude. I mean, it was like we were on like out on the TV station in Los Angeles and stuff like that, man, and up in Seattle. That's part of it.
Wow.
Yeah, in Seattle, you get there and they put you on the newspaper already back in the day, and that's what I'm talking about. Like sometimes you have to lead chuckle, man, and you've probably seen this too, Vic, to realize like,
Mhm.
damn, what we're doing out here, it's a perfect metaphor for the desert. We're doing a lot with just a little few resources like these plants do. There's less solar out here, there's less water out here, but the plants that come out here are the strongest plants. And then,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying, dude? So we would go out traveling and you realize, man, if you're growing up in LA or Seattle, if you're a 16-year-old playing, there's agents right down the block. There's record
Yeah.
companies to your spot. There's major media that's going to put you on the TV, maybe because they just liked you last week and now you're on TV and then you're on the radio stations. And that's when it really opened my eyes. Like, damn, dude, we gotta. I don't know, man. We got to come out here and try to promote. So we were always trying to take our friends out there, our friends' CDs out there, talk about our friends like now, name dropping stuff, but not fancy people, like people that are to me fancier but working class, musicians and
Gotcha.
yeah, media makers and stuff. So that was like 2008, 2009, and yeah, we did a lot of stuff, put out a lot of music, man. But I think it's just so much energy in there, man, that it was bound to just explode, as far as like in a beautiful
Hmm.
way. So it went up to the sky and it popped, you know, like
Well,
2011.
time was super different back then, right? So like back then it was all about albums. It was like you had to sell CDs. So I guess my question to you, right, is let's fast forward to now. Let's say you guys were barely starting now. The approach now, because everything is social media, bro. You got your Apple Music, you have, like all these apps that you can pretty much use as an outsource to your music. And I
Yeah,
was on the flight back, dude, and I was thinking about our interview and I was like, okay, what do I want to know, like the difficulties, the stuff, the stuff that's not on the surface, right? And I guess that I would want to know that. What would be your approach now instead? Because, dude, the obstacles back then was fucking difficult. If you, like
yeah,
you said, you have to leave the city.
yeah,
Two, you have to pack your trunk full of CDs if you want to get your
yeah,
music out there. It's not like you can just be like, hey, follow me on this,
yeah.
Now it's like
Yeah, you got to
you
think
gotta
before
become
you go.
you gotta become a fucking traveling salesman at that point, right?
Totally, dude.
So,
Totally, dude. I mean,
so
that's
what would
and
be
you're
the
right.
approach now?
Yeah, dude, and you're right. Though, even the logistics changed, right? Like physically, what you have to carry on. So now it's really interesting to me because I mean, there's more media. So now you don't have to go through the same few classic story, the same few record companies, same few outlets for visual, audio, whatever. There's more media. So now we create our own podcast. So we can upload to all these various streaming. But on the flip side, was there's a lot more competition in the sense because now,
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Now. So I think it's beautiful in the long run in that it's going to help everyone. Hey, we got to beef up what we're doing. Competition is beautiful that way. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I would say now, man, one thing hasn't changed from before is maybe even more so now is you got to get out on the road, man, because sometimes that's what differentiates you. That sometimes there's still people going to shows. Usually I go to DJ shows to tell the truth, but I would tell people if you get an opportunity, man, you got to go out there and tour, because a lot of people on one end will see you differently if you're in front of them than if you're one of a zillion bands they could download, even if they like your music. And sometimes you do stuff live that allows them to see you in a different manner that may be more
Mhm.
memorable. You know what I'm saying? And then also, I mean, just to speak frankly, we're in a world where you got to pay bills, and so a lot of times you capture most of your revenue at those live shows because streaming is great, but you get pennies, man. If that, at shows
Yeah.
you can structure your business in a way that you can figure out how to profit more because, hey, realistically, man, the more we profit, the more product we can produce, the more you can be out there, you know. So I would say, dudes,
Mhm.
hit the road, hit the road. Oh, don't forget your city map, but hit the road. And then if on the media, of course, put it on streaming. But you know what I'm finding, dude, is a lot of kids, and I say all people, but even adults, maybe, man, we get a lot of our music not from hearing whole albums anymore, but like little bits of songs you hear on like a short. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
yes.
I can't lecture the kids on, so lecture me, but get your little snippets on shorts, man. Even if it's like,
Hmm.
how many people now first heard little songs, and I'm talking about teenagers when they were just, it was like a little funny short, and there's that one song they keep hearing over and over, and then even as adults, because you follow that, and so get your yes, put it up on streams, man, but get your videos out. It's a video culture too nowadays, and put it on those little shorts, man. Use that if somebody
Dude,
has
actually, and I don't mean to interrupt, dude,
not
but that's a wonderful fucking idea. And actually, like, just even hearing that, it's like if anybody out there wants to collab with my shorts, send your music and I'll put it for free. You know, like,
me,
yeah,
dude.
dude, that's the whole point of this. Yeah, dude, fuck yeah. Like that's the whole, because you're right, bro. Because look, when I make a short, when we're doing an interview and I make a short, I usually use music that's on Instagram or on Facebook, whatever, right? But you're
Mhm.
right, dude. I mean, I could be helping an up and coming artist instead of using Ice Cube or Dr.
We go.
Dre and shit like that. Yeah, dude, that's huge, man. I can't believe I never thought of that, but you're right, and I'm gonna start doing that shit, bro.
But you've got the shorts. That's excellent. But it's cool. You do your shorts already. I was looking at your shorts, and that's cool too. Because yeah, it was. It's like sometimes even if it's not that. Oh, we have a short attention span. Sometimes you're busy. You know what I'm saying, and you're not going to be watching 20-minute videos even. But yeah, dude, I would just say shorts, shorts, shorts. Um, and here I'm just talking about how you get your music out, right? And so there you go tour. But I mean, I don't think internally it's changed a lot about in terms of how you make your music. Even if you're doing your music on computers a lot nowadays or with the help of like computers, man. I mean, my philosophy's always been just really, as cliche as that sounds, dude, cliche is just like give it a second to ignore the rules, dude, because the rules are a past tense thing. Sometimes they're like an old algorithm that you can add to, with new data. And I would just say, people, what I'm trying to get at is just like ignore what's right, what's wrong, what's stylish, what's not, what's dissonant, what's not, dude. If you're creating music, don't even worry about like people liking it. It sounds almost like cliche now to say that, dude. But if you're creating music, don't even worry about people liking it. Just if you, I mean, I think it's simple. If you have enough melody and beat, that's universal, But so that's the side. I'm just trying to touch on like how you would make songs because I'm trying. If you notice, I'm trying not to make too many details because it's
Hmm.
like trying to direct a thunderstorm. It's probably best functioning as a thunderstorm. So just like
Yeah.
let it ride, dude. But yeah, I mean,
Well, if I could just ask you one thing, bro, because the creation of music, a lot of it especially in your time, I mean, you're talking about you guys actually sitting down, playing instruments, probably songwriting, stuff like that. And
mhm,
now it's like you said, everything is off computer. Now it's just like pressing buttons and you're making music. What's your thought on that? Do you feel there's a loss of connection in the music or love? Because it's all I'm feeling like when you're playing. Like, I mean, I've never played an instrument, but I love watching people play instruments. As weird as
yeah,
it sounds, bro. Like watching Santana, Jimi Hendrix play the guitar. I'm like, what the fuck?
yes, bro.
So, do you think you lose that with the audience, or does it make it better? Where do you stand on that?
It's so weird, dude. So it's definitely changing. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely changing, and I'm like you, dude. That I like to see musicians in front of me playing, and I just always feel maybe there's some frequencies behind it that feel more whatever we call soulful. So I always feel like there's a human behind every note. There's an energy, electricity, soul behind every note, and I think you sense that, like you're saying, you there's something in watching somebody play live like that that to me is magical. You know what I'm saying? Um, but that being said, dude, was you got these kids who were socialized a bit different, and maybe to them, I don't know. It's like I don't know what we lost from principally picking up our music from like CDs, records, and stuff, as opposed to somebody who might have only been like, no, no, you have to go watch the big band. But there is a difference, man, and I think
Mhm.
Um, I think there's a lot of energy in these like DJ sets. You know what I'm saying? But I think sometimes what you lose, and I'll tell you, for example, mechanically speaking, um, as a musician, dude, sometimes you're playing, a lot of times you're playing, and really what you're doing is you're reflecting the energy you're getting from people. I can tell you 100%, man.
Yeah.
If you can feel great about the same song you played last night, but if the crowd is like bored or it's like not into it, you lose the electricity in your performance, dude. And that comes through somehow in those hidden frequencies we were talking about. And then it's a brutal cycle because then they sense that and they get less interested and it's ugly, you know. For or vice versa. If somebody's giving you like good energy, dude, even if you're singing to that one person that gets it, then when you kick up, and what happens is your music you play that night, dude, if you're playing it live, reacts to that immediately. So how fast you play, how slow you play, sometimes the dynamics. So one night you might play a song very different. You might be loud and then get quiet right here, and just because the crowd's willing to hear that. Sometimes you're playing louder for them because they're dancing and the crowd need you do what the crowd wants, you know. Sometimes you play faster or slower, you know. So that's the advantage, dude, of playing live, I think, you know, that it's a very um, to the second reaction to how that energy or that crowd is coming to you, you know? So to me, it's more
Mhm.
democratic that way. You know what I'm saying? People don't realize people come support, they're actually directing the band's energy, dude. Um,
Yeah.
and I think you lose that sometimes when you have stuff that's pre programmed in your computer to go at, you know, 120 BPMs, you know, beats per minute. And it's always going to change right here. And it's always going to be the same volume level here. And it's always going to come down and it's going to start always at the beginning, at the end. Yes, I know people can mix in and out, and that's the art of DJs. But I think you lose something there, brother. I think you lose when the machine's telling you how it's going to be that night. I think as a musician, you lose autonomy. I think the crowd gets relegated to like a spectator role where you just sit down and listen to how it's going to be, whether you integrate or not. And so I think you lose that, man. I think if you want to feel that magic, do it and submit to the crowd and the energy of the crowd, play some live instruments, and the crowd will guide you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's lost. Um,
Oh
and I think,
yeah, dude. I totally agree because there is the look, I think like I said, I've never played an instrument, dude. I've always wanted to play the drums and the guitar. You know, like I can't say that I love it enough to actually learn it. I really admire it and I like to see it. And I mean, rock music for me is like one of my favorite. You know, classic rock for me is probably my favorite type of music.
you ever try?
But
You ever to pick up a guitar? You
I
ever actually?
did, bro. Actually, me and my brother actually bought one. We are like, dude, okay, let's buy it and we'll
Yeah,
both learn, right?
yeah.
And now, dude, it just never, it never, yeah, I ended up doing this, you know what I mean? Not to say that I won't because it is in my bucket list, to at least to buy, like an acoustic guitar and just play something really basic, really. I think the only instrument that I've played is like the recorder back in like Lamar,
Well,
but
okay.
that's the only.
What's cool about that, Vic, is that were you able to keep rhythm when you were playing the recorder? I mean, would you say on beat?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that's all you need, dude. Like to me, and you said it right. You hinted at something, man. Is I think, and that's what I meant earlier. Is like, let's say you're starting to play. You can't expect to say you're doing guitar. You can't expect to be, you know, Santana right away or whoever,
Hmm.
you know. So that's where you have to say was, you know, just something. So for like me, man, I just had an old Beatle book, like a little easy guitar. I think it's literally called that, man. Like easy guitar chords, the Beatles. You know, and I knew a lot of Beatles songs growing up. Um, and so I just strummed away. And a lot of Beatles songs are very simple, very few chords. And the philosophy behind it is it's not, it doesn't need to be complex. If you have beauty, it's beautiful, man, you know? And so I think a lot of people just base simple, man. And yeah, your hands are going to be up. I can't hit that no. And you get impatient. "Nah, I'm done. I suck, you know? But no, you'd be surprised, man.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry I interrupted, brother, because you
No,
were,
no, no, you're good. No, no, you're good, bro. And that's really all I'm saying. It's because I think it has to have in correlation with the love, right? If you
yeah,
love something, dude, you won't, even if you fail, I don't think you'll give it up like that. You know what I mean? And
that's
to
cool.
me, I love music, but I don't think I loved playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was more fun to me to just watch. Jimmy Page fucking tear that shit up, and and it is, and I enjoy it, bro. Like I remember I went to one of the coolest shows that I've been to was a jazz show, bro, and this dude was fucking making love to the saxophone, bro, and I was just like, bro, like that. What's cool about, and this is what I mean about the machines, bro. Like that moment that I was looking at this guy just fucking going off on the saxophone, bro, you can feel the energy of like, dude, that's what this guy was meant to do in this fucking world, you
Yeah,
know? Like
yeah.
this guy is doing what he was meant to, and it's awesome to see, bro. It's motivating to see. It was motivating to be there and just seeing somebody in their fucking in their mode, in their fuck, you know what I mean? In that mode, in that zone, I guess you could say.
And it's
But
true. Sorry, I
go ahead, go
interrupted.
ahead. No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Because like you said it, dude, it's like, then what does that do to you as a creative? Because you're a creative person, man. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there, recognizing that energy. As a creative person, what does that do to when you see a human being in front of you that you knew packed up as drove through the traffic or whatever and got here, and now you see the sweat on him and you see the air going through it, and you almost see him making it as you go along. Because you feel like it's a human connection. I'm going to go back and create too, and that. Now I'm not saying that doesn't happen with other things, but I think sometimes what will happen is you will be able to to like if the machine's doing it, man, you might not get the same feeling that the human being did it
Yeah.
right. So was maybe I don't know, maybe the robots, maybe I need a robot to help me. And yeah, and I cut you off too, but yeah, just to kind of, I totally agree with you, dude. I think you lose the ability to connect to the source. Um, but as soon as I say that, I'm telling myself because I'm sure as DJs are like, no, no, no. It depends on how you use it. You can still do it, but you know,
Yeah. Well, because you can, there's different tempo, like the tempos, everything that you put, it is changing the energy of the room. You are influencing the crowd at a certain aspect. But like I said, bro, that moment when I saw that guy up there, and it's just like, man, like you said, dude, that guy probably drove through traffic. He's probably fucking fighting with his wife. His kid probably hates him. Like, we don't know the situation yet.
right, dude?
For these 2 minutes, you can tell that he just doesn't give a fuck about anything else
Huh?
but fucking saxophone, bro. And it's like, it's fucking magic, bro. I mean, I'll never
That's
forget that
coming out.
moment, bro.
And that everything you said, Vic, is frustrating, or man, I feel guilty. I should be over there, family or whatever. All that's coming out. All that is
Yeah.
coming out. And maybe again, it's pre-programmed in the stuff, but maybe what you're programming when you program something, a lot of times, even though you're working with a crowd, like say you're doing electronic stuff, you're still reflecting the crowd, and the best DJs react to that. But the root elements of what you're using have already been embedded with certain frequencies, and maybe I'm speaking too abstractly now, but not. I don't think for you, but maybe for some people that don't care about that. But all that, dude, all that energy, I think that person, all that energy that person went through at night is going to come out on those frequencies. And then you're going to feel it. And maybe in a weird unconscious way, that's what you're reacting to. Like, oh, I get this. I don't know why I get it, but I get it, dude. And there you are too. So yeah, man, it's changing, and it's difficult to tell because, and another thing, like, is like, it's like we won't know what we're missing. So if you're a little kid born 2025, man, and you're raised with that, you might think, no, I don't know what these guys are talking about. I get plenty of energy, I get plenty. That's what's amazing about this whole thing. It just changes, dude. It just changes. But I think what we can do is capture this stuff like time capsules, in videos,
So,
audios.
so let me ask you this, bro, because yeah, we grew up in an era where there wasn't really that much technology, 1995 BT, right? Before technology.
Honest.
What
Yes.
and kids now are dude, they'll never know a life that we knew, right? So I bet I know as an artist, there's a lot of obstacles you have to face, right? You have to adjust, you have to change as the time comes, right? What was the biggest obstacle that you guys faced? Because I know you said you were in Seattle, you were in LA, you guys had some success. What was the obstacle that kind of just kept you guys from elevating to that next level?
I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, there's always the social pressure of like you don't want to abandon like your family if you have already a family. And so there's always something in the back of your head that says, just go home, bro. Like people need you, you know what I'm saying, or this or that. But truthfully, man, I think that even that can be overcome if one, you have somebody on your side that knows why you're doing what you're doing. But two, if you bring home some bacon, man, I hate to keep going back to that. Um, and so I want to say that probably our biggest failure, dude, was that we didn't have the business acumen to really capitalize correctly. So, you know, you go into Walmart, man, and they're not giving anything away unless it's somehow bringing in profit or something, right? Bands, what we
Hmm.
do, dude, is that, um, so like, first of all, you get out there on the road and you probably don't plan it as much as you should to make it most efficient. So you're taking whatever you can. Um, and then you get there, and a lot of times I'll tell you what a lot of people do is they give away their merchandise, for example. They give away their music, which is beautiful too. We did that, dude, because that's how you spread the magic. It's like the whole Red Bull strategy, whatever.
Hmm.
You end up giving away a lot of your inventory, dude, in ways that probably in the long run isn't too good because you go broke. You don't make your money back, you know? And then we're not business people at heart, so it's easy to swindle us out of like how much we should be getting paid for shows, or it's okay, we'll play for free for the exposure, you know? So no money coming in on that side. And if you do get money, you might piss it away at all the things that don't matter sometimes, or a significant portion. So hey, we've got cash, let's go buy, you know, whatever. Anything that's not business related, and so you don't invest that correctly, then you don't have sort of the like the legal leadership to tell you. So I'll tell you, we were offered deals, man, um, with different, believe it or not, recording companies, dude. And I always remember this one company. Well, Machete was cool. They were doing reggaeton in the '90s, dude. These are the Estefans in Florida. But what we would always get, and not specifically just from them, but what we would always get is well, I'll tell you an example, local, and I won't say his name because he's a cool dude. He's just doing what he had to do. But he'd work with people like Juan Gabriel and stuff, you know. Um, but he said, "Look, we think your all's music's great." And he said other stuff, you know. But he said, "But okay, before we do anything, I need you guys to sign off on publishing." So in other words, man, like they would keep a product, you know what I'm saying, and they'd be able to get.
Hmm.
Now we didn't do it. He said, "Oh no," and I know it was like to this day, probably like the drummer hates you for that stuff, but he got it too, you know. He got it. He's like, dude, but so we're gonna give everything away now, and we can make more. But the idea that you're being asked to surrender all, it didn't sound too good, man. And so I'm glad we didn't do it. But a lot of times, if you do that, your money isn't coming in the way it should be, right? And if you don't have studios in town that are also, like I mentioned earlier, the infrastructure to help you say it up, as we'll record to you anyway, you know, other songs, you got to pay them. Um,
Hmm.
and then you don't have agents to guide you the right way. And so you're booking your own shows and it's never the money coming in. So long story short, I think, man, we didn't know how to do business right. So here's the other part of it. It's not that we could have learned, but you're tricked by philosophy in this thing that, oh, it's making money selling out, dude, or knowing how to do run a business transaction is anti-reality, or you're not keeping it real. But it makes a lot of broke musicians do it, and then you end up flipping burgers, pissed off, and like, why didn't I make it, man? Well, it wasn't because your product wasn't there, you know. It's probably because
Hmm.
you weren't able to collect the dollars correctly. You know what I'm saying? So I think our biggest failure, dude, was not understanding the business side of it. And so I would say today, please, if you're somebody that like can help these kids do it, or even help the grown-ups do it, they need you, man, because ideally they should be, yes, everyone should be able to run their own business, you know, but sometimes you need help from a business organization to get this done right and capitalize and go on to the next step. And I think that was the biggest thing for us, man. Um, I don't know, man. It's tough.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all know it's a tricky business, dude. We all know it's a tricky business, you know. You hear, I mean, I don't know, I've never been through the actual path, right? But you hear stories.
Hey Vic, I'm sorry, man. I cut
You
off there.
good? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother. My thing said low
Nah, you're
signal,
good. You're good.
so I'm sorry if it cuts off. We'll just keep going. We'll keep going.
Yeah. No, you're good. Don't worry. No worries. So, yeah, dude. So, I mean, we know it's a shady business, bro. We know, we hear the stories, you know, on where people try to take advantage of musicians and stuff like that. And I totally get it, bro. And I respect it in a sense of you can't start a relationship with your foot on my neck. You know what I mean? You wanting my publish me,
Really?
you already have your foot on my neck, bro. It's like you can't start a relationship like that. So, I totally understand, man. And it's a tough thing that I haven't been through, you know, but I totally understand it.
You know,
I saw one of the, go ahead.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead, brother. I cut you off.
No, no, no. Because I was gonna ask you about something else, but if you want, go ahead. Last take on this one.
No, no, that's it. You said, I think it's even cultural, dude. I'll tell you why, because I noticed that a lot of in the culture, and I'll tell you, and this happened with us with agents. Some people would actually start by saying, "You guys, what you first have to realize, is you guys are." I actually had somebody tell us that you guys are clowns and you're theater clowns, and you go up there and your job is to make people. It's like a gesture, yeah. And I'm thinking, bro, and that's the culture because in these cultures, artists can be relegated to entertainment, right? Not information
Hmm.
people, not people who how dare you speak on philosophy or whatever. It's just go sing a song. You're our little background entertainment. And so that is already underlying a lot of the relationships here. So when you get an agent, sometimes you're thinking these people aren't thinkers, these people aren't whatever. They're my tools. They're my court gestures that I'm going to use to impress the king or whatever. And so it's so deep, dude. Maybe a lot of it is actually the culture, but that's why I appreciate people who see art beyond just clown shows. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So yeah. So I was just saying that it's like a philosophy ingrained in society. Back in the day, artists used to be, and I mean artists, dancers, singers, creators, writers, painters, speakers like yourself, man. I consider you a speaker. Um, they used to be seen as like tribal leaders, dude. They used to be seen as important. And somewhere along the way, and I think honestly, because they were a legitimate threat to the kings and queens, they were pushed in a corner and said, "Those are clowns, okay? Yeah, we'll keep them around, but they're just clowns. They're court jesters." But
Yeah.
I think we got to get away from. So I'm so thankful when there's people like you do that don't just see us as like shut up and strum your guitar.
See, dude, and I think that's huge because I think you're right. Like some people are clear threads, bro. Like yesterday, I was watching, I'm scrolling through YouTube, right, and then I stop on a Tupac video,
Yeah.
and like this dude just is going off on whether he's right or wrong, bro. Like this dude had the voice and he had the leadership to fucking make you fucking
Absolutely.
want to do something, bro.
Mhm.
And like I don't, since him, dude, I don't think we've had somebody else like that,
Mhm.
and it's fucking awesome. Like I was listening to, and I mean, I love Tupac. You know, when I was younger, I grew up, but this time when I saw the video, dude, it felt so like fuck, dude, that's what I should be doing too,
Yeah.
bro. Like,
Yeah. Dude.
well, why aren't we all moving like this motherfucker was, dude? Like, he's right in every fucking sense of what he's talking about, bro.
Dude.
And maybe because we're coming from cultures of, Mexican, African American, where we are, I know it may not seem like it, dude, but you're right. You don't see us on, we're not the superheroes like we were talking about. And why aren't we? So I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
No, no, no. You're hitting on the head, dude. And so I grew up like hearing Tupac. I mean, hip hop too, man. Like I had a dance rap group in the late '80s, man. When I was a little kid, I remember. I remember when NWA was a new group, and we were hearing them right here in San Francisco district, like on tapes. But